Boro make their third signing of the January transfer window. The question is it the striker that we've been waiting for? No. Is it a right winger to help out Isaiah Jones and Force on the right? No. It's another left back. What?
He's in, and he's snuck it across to Hayden Hackney!
What is up guys, Matthew here and welcome back to another video here on the channel. And Boro, out of absolutely nowhere, dropped a new signing earlier today. It was the loan signing of Leicester City's left back Luke Thomas, and this was not linked, rumoured. None of the fan pages, none of the media, none of the journalists in the local area who follow Boro and report on Boro had picked up on this. No one had a sniff that this was even happening, but Luke Thomas has joined Boro on loan for the rest of the season, just like Luke Ayling. He was on loan earlier this season. In fact, he was on loan at Sheffield United earlier in the season and did play quite a bit for them to start the season, but was benched for the last couple of games. He started pretty much their first 14 games in the Premier League this season. Interestingly enough, playing more at left mid than left back, which shows he is a very attacking player down the left-hand side. Has been off the bench, though, in the last few weeks and wasn't even in the squad in their Boxing Day game against Luton Town. Now, that might suggest that Leicester were not happy with his game time and they pulled him from his loan, brought him back to Leicester, and Boro come knocking. But the question is, why on earth do Boro need a left-back? Because, of course, we've got Lucas Engel, we've got Alex Bangura, O'Brien, I guess, can play there. And we do have Hayden Coulson, who has left on loan and went to Blackpool. So why would we need another left back? Well, it's not been confirmed, but I think the reason as to why is that Alex Bangura must be out for the season. He, of course, picked up a hamstring injury, we believe, in the first leg of the League Cup semi-final against Chelsea. We've not heard anything since, and this, to me, suggests that Alex Bangura will be out for the rest of the season. It's not confirmed. It might be for the majority of the rest of the season, but that still leaves Boro now without three of their first team defenders out for the rest of the season. He joins Tommy Smith and Darragh Lenihan on the injury list for the rest of the season. We have, of course, had to bring in reinforcements on the right-hand side with Luke Ayling coming in to sort of fill that stopgap to the end of the season. And we've now had to do exactly the same on the left-hand side with Luke Thomas. So that, I think, both similar profile signings. You've got two loans, one on either side. Luke Thomas, obviously, probably a player Boro, I dare say, couldn't afford if we wanted to buy him. So this, for me, is another short-term stopgap while Bangura is out. A lot of Boro fans did ask the question, why did we not bring back Ryan Giles? I think the answer to that is pretty darn simple. Luton seem to be selling Ryan Giles for up to around £4 million to Hull City. That seems pretty close. And even if it's a loan to buy or a buy in January, Luton are guaranteed to be getting £4 million off of Hull City, whereas Boro are only going to go in and loan or offer a loan for Ryan Giles if they wanted him. Luton are always going to take the offer that has a transfer or has cash on its side, and Boro aren't going to go out of their way to buy another left back because, of course, a bit like Tommy Smith on the right, Bangura will be fit again even if it's for the start of next season. So Ayling and Thomas are simply only in, I think, to do the same job. But what is he like, Luke Thomas? Well, he seems like he is a pretty attacking left back. As I mentioned, in a lot of the time that he spent at Leicester and Sheffield United, he has played quite a bit at left midfield. Boro, of course, like to get their left backs quite far up the pitch. Lucas Engel at times does operate as a bit of a left winger. I guess when Boro shift to that side and create loads of space for him down the left, Engel does bomb on. So, yeah, Boro's left backs pretty much push just as far forward as a left winger does. So I think he definitely suits the profile that Boro are looking for down that left-hand side. He's, of course, played plenty in the Premier League. He was a frequent player for Leicester last season before they got relegated. He played 17 times in the Premier League last season and has played quite a bit this season for Sheffield United. So he has dropped down a level, but I think he will probably come in and slip straight into the team if Engel's not performing, and I think will be more than up to the standard that Boro require at this level. In terms of his stats this season, or his stats overall, he has made 68 Premier League appearances in his short career. He's still a young player, Luke Thomas, so, you know, the fact that he's made that many Premier League appearances in his career I think is pretty good. You know, he's only 22, so another really young player, you could say. And as well as that, 17 appearances in domestic cup competitions. He's also made 13 appearances in Europe and has 14 caps for England under 21, scoring 7 goals and getting a total of 6 assists in his position. Now, what I will say is, given the fact that his profile is a left back to left winger or left midfielder, his assist and goals return isn't as good as I probably would like it to be. Of course, when Boro shift out of their defensive shape to a more attacking one, we don't have as much width on the right-hand side. We drag the opposition over to the right, create all that space down the left for our left-back to bomb on. We did it last season with Ryan Giles. We've done it this season with Lucas Engel. No surprise, you look at Engel and Bangura. They were both wingers by trade who sort of gradually migrated into being a left-back / left winger who can do a bit of both. Luke Thomas is exactly the same, but when he does play, he is going to be expected to get into them attacking areas and cross the ball into the box, and that's where we need to see him with that final killer pass, them assists, them goal contributions. And I will say, given his appearances for both Leicester and Sheffield United over the last season or so, I would like to see a little bit more in terms of the numbers that he brings back. But I think, given the fact that, you know, we're going to be without Bangura, you'd imagine, looking around for potential short-term stopgaps at left-back, getting a player in who's been spending the entire season in the Premier League, I think he should probably slot quite nicely into the Middlesbrough side, who are mid-table, pushing for the playoffs. Now, whether he can fight Lucas Engel for that position, whether he'll take that position from him, time will tell. But it's good competition for him, and I think it might help push Engel on that little bit more. This was the Boro squad depth graphic then, after our last signing, which of course was Luke Ayling. This is where I was. I was pretty much happy across the board, to be honest with you. Obviously, putting Force up front made me feel a bit more confident that we had enough up top. Isaiah Jones would be on the right-hand side. And of course, back then I had Engel, Bangura, Coulson and O'Brien. Coulson's left, he's gone out on loan. Bangura, you would say, is out for the season. So this is how I feel about the Boro squad now. So, taking Coulson out of the equation, with Bangura injured, you can absolutely see why we would need someone at left-back. You've only got Engel there, and then you've got O'Brien, who is not naturally a left-back and doesn't suit the profile of left-back Boro wants. So, you can see the urgency in which Boro have acted and why they've acted to get some more depth at left-back in. So I think we've acted quickly and we filled that gap really, really quickly. However, you will also notice that I've moved the striker and right wing position back to yellow in a position where we could improve. In fact, they probably could even be red, because just like with Bangura's injury at left-back, hamstring injury, Isaiah Jones has got pretty much the same injury, and we don't know how long he's going to be out for either. And it's typical, you know, just when we get Marcus Force back, you think, we can afford to put Marcus Force up front because we've got Jones on the right. As soon as Force returns, typical Boro's luck this season, Isaiah Jones leaves the squad through injury. So now we're going to have to bring Force back to right wing because Jones is out, Silvera's away with Australia, Rodgers and Greenwood are definitely more suited to coming in off the left, although Rodgers could play there. But now, all of a sudden, just when it looked like we had good numbers at both right wing and striker, we're now short in both areas again. So this is why I think, maybe like what we've done in place of Bangura, we look for another short-term loan, potentially at right wing or up top. I think the limit of loans is 4. I'm not too sure, don't quote me on that. So we might not want to loan too many more players because, as we know with Boro's model, we are desperate to not lean on loans too much, and it seems like we're only going there for the short term. We're not panic buying in any position if we can help it. So if Jones's injury is short term, we're not going to loan anyone there. but I would still like to buy someone in that position. I think Isaiah Jones' consistency isn't always the best. I think he could do with some healthy competition on the right if we're to keep Force up top. But if we're going to bring Force back to the right-hand side, which it very much looks like Carrick still wants to do, then we definitely need a striker. It's as simple as that. It just seems like Carrick is much more comfortable having Force on the right. I've never known quite why. I think he's definitely the best player we've got to play up front for Boro, but he's effective from the right. So, yeah, I think we need to fill in one or two of them positions. We either give Jones more depth or give Lathan Coburn more depth and see where he wants to play Marcus Force. And then I hope we will sign a striker. But again, we've not been linked with anybody at all, which is a bit of a concern. Although the Thomas deal come from nowhere, so maybe Boro are just really, really quiet and stealthy when it comes to our transfer business, and a striker might drop tomorrow. Who the hell knows? But I am certainly a little bit concerned by the lack of rumours, the lack of movement, and I think it goes for the whole transfer window. It's been an incredibly quiet month across the entire of the English leagues, especially from the Premier League upwards, and it always is the case that when the Premier League teams start moving, there's a domino effect which allows the Championship sides to start moving, and because there's nothing happening above us right now, there's nothing really for us. There's no crumbs or pieces of us for us to pick up down in the Championship. So I think if something is going to happen to Boro, it might happen really, really late, and we might get the funds regarding that from Morgan Rogers' sale. Now, a quick one on Morgan Rogers. Of course, Aston Villa have put in 2 bids. Both have been rejected. Apparently, they're eyeing up a 3rd bid for Morgan Rogers, but this seemingly is their 3rd and final bid, and if they don't hit Boro's valuation, I think negotiations will stop there. It is also rumoured that Aston Villa are looking at Norwich's Jonathan Rowe as a alternative. So maybe Villa aren't confident they'll hit Morgan Rogers' valuation, and they're just starting to make moves elsewhere in case they can't get Rogers. So maybe there is a slight glimmer that he might stay. Either way, if he stays, I'll be delighted. If he doesn't, I'll be delighted, because we'll have money to invest in what I hope is a goddamn striker, because it's just eerily quiet at the moment, and I am getting a little bit nervous around them top 2 positions on the right and up front, because we just seem 1 or 2 injuries away from being an absolute crisis once again. So that's sort of an overall transfer roundup, as well as my thoughts on Luke Thomas. Not much to say really. I think his profile's pretty good. I think the type of signing works for the current situation Boro are in. I'd just like to see how he gets on competing with Lucas Engel, and if he can get that many goal contributions down the left-hand side. But let me know your thoughts if you're a Boro fan, a Leicester fan, or a Sheffield United fan, and you've got an opinion on Luke Thomas. I'd be intrigued to see how he gets on. But until the next one, guys, subscribe for much more Boro news, if any drops between now and deadline day, which is only a few days away. And of course, frequent Boro reviews and some often match day vlogs from time to time on the Boro, if that interests you too. But other than that, a big thank you for watching, guys. Do take care, and I'll see you all in the next one.